Hey guys, I'm here to make the video for my UFC Borralho versus Imavov predictions. Here we'll look at our profits. We're at like 46 bucks, assuming you put in $10 per bet. I think eventually, once I hit like say like $200, I'm gonna start working off of like units, or rather like percentage of the account, so we can make money in an exponential fashion. But we're looking pretty good at the moment. We started off from zero, actually negatives the first one, and now we're at 46.4. Um, I was thinking of making like different content, more than just my picks. Um, However, I'm gonna start my second year of middle school soon, so it could be tough. But I mean, we'll see what happens. But I will still work off these picks uh, every UFC event. And like I've said before, I've made a significant amount of money off these picks, and there's a difference between picks and predictions. Okay, we start off with Sam Hughes versus Sean O'Bannon. I'm not watching this fight. I think any way this fight goes, Sam Hughes is gonna win. She's got better physicality. She's like better grappling. She's got better striking. Sean O'Bannon lost to Bruno Brazil. And also I think Sam Hughes is like pretty locked in with her new mindset going on. I'm not gonna watch this fight. I'm gonna say Sam Hughes uh, by decision. That's my prediction. That's also my pick. We move on to Andreas Gustafsson versus Rinat Fakhretdinov. I think Andreas Gustafsson, with his last fight, he had that like Drew Dober extra boost based on his tattoo that he's got going on. I don't know. I think he just melted him because of his skin tone, right? And he looked pretty good in his last fight. I think that applies to Rinat Fakhretdinov as well because of that old beard that's going on. I don't even know how he made it to France. Anyways, I think in all fairness, Rinat Fakhretdinov, I don't rate him that highly. He's on a quote unquote unbeaten streak. He lost to Leal and the other guy, Dalby, who both lost in spectacular fashion. Andreas Gustafsson looked really, really good in his most previous fight. Uh, he looked pretty good in the striking, but his pace was the thing that really impressed me the most. Compared to Rinat Fakhretdinov, whose pace is, I mean, his conditioning needs work. That's all I need to say. So Andreas Gustafsson, money line is my pick, and I'm gonna go with Gustafsson by decision as my prediction. All right, we have Brad Tavares versus Robert Brycek. I think this is pretty easy. Brad Tavares, not that much power in his hands. However, Robert Brycek lost to fucking Ihor Potieria. Let's not kid ourselves here. Brad Tavares, he looked pretty good against the GM3 fight, in the GM3 fight. Brad Tavares by decision is my pick and prediction. We move on to Trey Waters versus Sam Patterson. I'm not going to make a pick in this fight. However, I think Sam Patterson has the better grappling, and I don't think Trey Waters is good enough in the grappling to where he can't stop a submission from happening. Trey Waters, he's just got that like volume striking. He doesn't have that one hitter power, one hitter quitter power against Sam Patterson. I think Trey Waters, I don't think he's going to like melt Sam Patterson. He could. That's why I'm not picking. However, I think Sam Patterson will take it by submission. I do not have a pick, however. So we move on to Reese McKee versus Axel Souza. Now, one of my rules is that I don't I won't make a pick on someone who hasn't fought anyone significant, and especially in their first fight in the UFC. Reese McKee, I don't rate him that highly, but however, Axel Souza, I can't tell you one person he actually fought, right? I mean, look at this guy. He doesn't even have a picture, height, or reach. I'm going to go with Axel Souza just based on his record by decision, sure. I don't care about Reese McKee. I'll probably be pissing while this happens. Okay. Marcin Tybura versus Ante Delija. I have seen some of Delija's fights. He's okay. I mean, he's got good striking compared to Marcin Tybura, but he is kind of a little bit of a blob coming in. I'm not going to make a pick for this fight, however, because I don't think Marcin Tybura is all that good unless he is. If that makes any sense. Marcin Tybura just fights these blobs and absolutely just melts them. Ante Delaj's got big power in his hands. It's just the pick or rather the prediction is based on whether he's UFC worthy. I'm gonna go with Marcin Tybura by decision. Actually, I will make a pick. I will say Marcin Tybura by decision, just because I feel like that's gonna give a lot of value, right? But I feel like Marcin Tybura can stink it up and make it a clinch fest like he did against Mick Parkin. So let's go with Marcin Tybura by decision. And we move on to Brenson Ribeiro versus Umar Sy. This is such a crazy fight, right? Brenson Ribeiro lost to actually a lot of people that are pretty bad. I'm going to go with Umar Sy. I mean, he lost to Alonzo Minifield, but Alonzo Minifield's like ranked. He's okay. Umar Sy, I think he takes this pretty easily. Brenson Ribeiro, he's just not that good, right? You beat Tuco Tacos. Good job. What, you want a cookie? All right. So, yeah. So I'm going to go with Umar Sy by decision. I think Brenson Ribeiro can just accept that he's not going to win the fight, but still fight enough where he's not going to lose. We go on with William Gomez versus Robert Ruchala. Ruchala, he's like significantly shorter and has a slightly shorter reach than William Gomez. Gomez is okay. I mean, he had that fight with Joe Anderson Brito where I think he lost, but I mean, it was a split. It was good enough to be a robbery decision, and also he got robbed of that last fight, I'm pretty sure. I think he just picks him apart at range. He's got no power in his hands, but whatever. I mean, he's good enough to get robbed to rob Joe Anderson Brito. I don't think this Robert Ruchala guy has what it takes to beat William Gomez. So I'm going to say William Gomez by decision. I think this is a pretty easy pick, and I think it's a pretty valuable pick. All right, we move on to the main card. Patricio Pitbull versus Lucien Keita. I actually will make a pick for this fight. I don't think Patricio Pitbull is going to win against a 27-year-old featherweight who's bigger than him, significantly bigger than him, actually. I'm going to go with Lucien Keita, money line. Patricio Pitbull, he has the opportunity to be chinny, but he handled the shots pretty well against, let's say, Yair Rodriguez, who's a pretty hard hitter. And he was getting hit a lot. And Lucien Keita is a pretty hard hitter, actually. So I'm going to go with moneyline Keita. And my prediction will be by decision. All right, we move on to Fares Ziam versus Kai Fernandez. Ziam versus Fernandez is a pretty easy fight to pick. Fares Ziam, I'm going to take it moneyline because he could just knock his ass out. Kai Fernandez, I mean, this guy beat Muhammad Yahya and Garam Kudadalidze. I mean, like what? You need a medal or something? For Ziam, I mean, he's on a pretty big win streak, and he hasn't lost anyone significant beforehand. I'm going to go with Fares Ziam moneyline, and I'm going to predict that he wins this by decision. Pretty easy fight to pick. We move on to Modestas Bukauskas versus Paul Craig. At this point of his career, I don't think Paul Craig has that fluke submission ability. I mean, he very well could, but I think Modestas Bukauskas is smart enough to just strike with him. I mean, like Craig lost to Bo Nickel, right? Modestas Bukauskas beat Ion Cutelaba, and that win's aging pretty well, right? Because Cutelaba is not that bad. I'm going to go with Bukauskas by decision. I don't think Paul Craig's super easy to chin if you're not, Caio Borralho. Yeah, so Modestas Bukauskas by decision. We move on to Balaji Oki versus Mason Jones. I'm going to go with Mason Jones here. I mean, and the reason why is Mason Jones is his two losses are against what? Mike Davis and what's the other guy's name? Mike Davis and Ludovic Klein, right? And he beat David Onama. And he had a pretty good fight against Jeremy Stevens, but Jeremy Stevens he was just power maxing, whereas Balaji Oki, he got subbed by Chris Duncan. And it's not a bad loss, but I don't know. I rate a David Onama win pretty highly. So I'm going to go with Mason Jones here, money line. But my pick would be Mason Jones. Let's say decision or KO, TKO, because I believe in him. So we got Benoit Saint-Denis versus Mauricio Hufi. It's been a while since he fought Dustin Poirier, but the way he got like slimed out was pretty bad, right? And Mauricio Hufi, I mean, he's Conor McGregor to his Dustin Poirier. You understand what I'm saying? I think he's just gonna get pieced up, and I think Mauricio Hufi can take it by KO. And in fact, I'm gonna pick that. I'm gonna go Mauricio Hufi by TKO. I don't think Benoit Saint-Denis is all that good. His best win is Matt Favola. It's Matt Favola, okay? And he also beat that Canadian guy, Kyle something, I forget his name. However, that's not a very good win. And the way he took it to a second round, come on now. Mauricio Hufi, he's got good grappling defense. I feel like he's just going to chin him in like the second round or whatnot. Mauricio Hufi by knockout. Fuck Benoit Saint-Denis. And we got Nasruddin Imavov versus Caio Borralho, our main event. I actually really like this. And I don't understand why Nasruddin Imavov is getting so absolutely underrated when he slimed Israel Adesanya. I am taking Nasruddin Imavov money line. Caio Borralho, oh my god, this guy. I mean, like, look at, he just has Fighting Nerds plot armor. Look at the fights between Jared Cannonier. Like, Nasruddin Imavov was piecing him up, whereas Caio Borralho took him to a pretty long decision, right? Nasruddin Imavov, his striking is 1,000% better. Caio Borralho, I mean, he beat what's his name, Brendan Allen in a grappling match. However, Nasruddin Imavov like beat him in the grappling in some areas, right? Caio Borralho is a pretty similar grappler, like pretty similar level grappler to Brendan Allen. I think Nasruddin Imavov takes this pretty easily, right? So I'm gonna say Nasruddin Imavov. I'm gonna pick money line. However, I'm gonna predict he wins this by decision. Just pieces him up on the feet, defends all his takedowns, and he's 29 years old. I mean, he's just constantly improving. He's a young guy. I'm gonna say he wins this and then just gets absolutely slimed by Khamzat Chimaev. But that happens to everyone, let's be honest here. So that was my picks for UFC Fight Night, Imavov versus Borralho. I might make some different content on here, UFC content. We'll see, because I'm still going to have to go to that fuck-ass school. Second year, middle school. I mean, it is what it is. Those are my picks. That's about it. I'll see you guys next for Lopez and Silva. See ya.